Good morning, everyone. Respected Chairperson, uh, honorable delegates. At the outset, I thank the organizers of KAPICON 2021, Professor Dr. Sudha Vidyasagar and Dr. Shivashankar for giving me an opportunity to speak in this August gathering. The topic I'll be speaking today is about the newer technologies in medical practice. We all know that the medical technology has evolved over several years. When we started our practice, we were monitoring diabetes based on urine sugar testing by doing Benedict's test. Today, we are able to do continuous glucose monitoring with the help of an implanted sensor. That's how every branch of medicine has undergone huge technological advancements. But the topic which I'll be discussing today deals with mainly those which can be called as digital technologies, which can shape the practice of future medicine. The technologies which I'll be talking about in very briefly in the next 18 minutes or so would include about the applications of artificial intelligence and machine learning in medicine, mobile health and wearable devices, 3D printing, visual reality, virtual reality and augmented reality and their use in medical practice, CRISPR, 5G technology, and about the convergence of technologies. The first and most important advancement can happen with the help of artificial intelligence and machine learning in medicine. Before the COVID pandemic started, the journals were flooded with articles about the machine learning models in various aspects of medicine. Machine learning and artificial intelligence basically involves a computer program or an intelligent program which is aimed to imitate the human cognition. The AI program is a mathematical model which are given examples and are trained to predict the results. The training is what is known as machine learning, and a learned model is able to predict the results. The basic unit of artificial neural network is a ANN. There is which has a digitalized input and multiple layers of connected neurons which progressively detect the patterns and which are able to detect the features and provide an output. There are many examples here in daily life, like when we open a phone with the help of Face ID, or when we see the news feeds in Google or Facebook, they all use the technology of machine learning and artificial intelligence. In medicine, there are three important areas where AI and machine learning can make huge impacts in the future. The first and foremost area is in diagnostics, especially image-based diagnostics, like in radiology, like in histopathology, dermatology, ophthalmology, and several other areas where image-based diagnosis is applied. The machines or the computer programs can be trained to detect a pattern in an image and can be trained to detect the diagnosis in those images. There are several articles which are published now where CT scan can be interpreted with the help of AI programming. CT scans, MRI, chest X-rays can be interpreted, or even making a diagnosis of malignancy in histopathology, making a skin diagnosis of skin cancers, detecting diabetic retinopathy. Basically, they all involve images, and image-based diagnosis looks much easier with AI-based technologies. The second most important area of application of AI in medicine would be in the drug development. The traditional drug development is a costly business. It's time consuming. Many times the drugs which are developed might not enter the market at all. AI technologies have eased out the burden of drug development. They have made it much interesting, much simpler and cost effective. One example where AI has helped in drug development in a very recent year is in the use of baricitinib in the management of COVID-19. We all know recently, sometime back, New England Journal of Medicine published the article about the benefits of baricitinib in COVID pneumonia in combination with remdesivir. The drug baricitinib is basically a JAK1, JAK2 inhibitor, which is used in the treatment of arthritis. A company, AI-based, in London-based company called Benevolent AI, has developed, was looking for the molecules which help in COVID pneumonia, especially in the management of severe COVID pneumonia, and they found that baricitinib may be able to be helpful in controlling the cytokine storms. The drug was further evaluated, then the clinical trials started, and the clinical trial also turned out to be positive. This is how AI can help in development, in drug development, or in repurposing the drugs for a particular condition. They look at the pharmacology of the drug, pharmacology of the molecule, biochemical properties, the receptors, the receptor data, genomics data. So combining all those things, they are able to point out which molecule can go further for developmental process. AI-based models, AI-based technology will make huge impact in a third area, which is in the data analytics. My healthcare generates huge amount of data. Every patient is full of data, like his clinical profile, his clinical laboratory parameters, his previous records, his imaging files. So all those things generate data. So creating a smart electronic health record, fast sifting through data and making analysis of the data will help in predicting the epidemics, will help in modeling the epidemics, which also helps in managing the patient in terms of predicting the outcome of the patient, predicting the better treatment options. We all make predictions of a patient based on our clinical experience. We look at this patient, this patient is serious. How it's because of our experience. We take some inputs into consideration, like his clinical parameters, his lab parameters, his age, and other risk factors. So similarly, a machine can be made to can be trained to look at these data and much more what a human mind can do by looking at the published studies, published literature, genomics, everything can be combined, and the data, it can be able to predict what is the most likely outcome of this patient, what is the survival chances, or which is the best treatment option available for this patient, especially in cases of oncology, etc. So AI has already made huge strides in several areas, like detecting, as I said earlier, breast cancers, detecting skin cancers, radiological diagnosis, interpretation of ECG, echo, arrhythmia detection, like atrial fibrillation, choosing the embryo for IVF, detection of depression in mental health, detecting the response to treatment of mental health, and several other important areas. To augment the functions of AI, in medicine, the one more important area which can make huge progress is in the development of wearable technology. When Apple and Fitbit introduced fitness bands or watches, they are more or like a fitness tracking applications which measured your step count or measured your calorie burnt, etc. But over the years, this technology has evolved. So the present generation watches can measure your heart rate, can measure your respiration, can measure your physical activity, ECG, body temperature, blood pressure, oxygen saturation, and maybe in next 1 or 2 years, they'll be able to measure your blood glucose also. So this will advance the management of diseases, monitoring of the diseases, and also in the prevention of diseases, like in supporting the patient with health conscious individuals. And the data from these wearable devices like watches, fitness bands, or wearable sensors can be transferred to a mobile, and from there it can be sent to a doctor's app, or it can be synced with the cloud-based apps. It can be synced with web applications, and it's also used for analyzing with the help of AI and machine learning, and to make better health advice, or to make better decision making. There are also examples of virtual clinical trials being conducted with the help of Apple Watches. Already 2 or 3 trials have been published. This is how the data flow happens from a wearable device to a mobile or to cloud or web. And if you combine this wearable technology with a smart home technology like an inbuilt thermostat or a motion sensor at home, people can be remotely monitored, especially elderly people who are living alone at remote places can be monitored for falls, for any derangement in their major health parameters. So all these things are possible in future. This is just an example how an atrial fibrillation was detected in my clinic with a patient who was wearing a smartwatch. His watch gave an alert that he has atrial fibrillation. He came with that ECG recording, digital ECG recording. When I recorded, actually he had atrial fibrillation. So this is how the technology is evolving in the future years, and which make health and management of diseases more interesting and more advanced. The next major area of technology is in the development of 3D printing. 3D printing can make huge progress in the manufacturing sector. Traditional manufacturing of any devices or any equipment involves the carving, carving, lathing, or pressing, or etc. But 3D technology involves 3D printing involves what is known as an additive manufacturing technique, which creates three-dimensional layers of objects by building successive layers of raw materials like metals, plastics, or ceramics. The objects to be created is created from a digital file, 3D digital file. A 3D digital file of any object can be created with the help of computer-assisted designing or even with the help of an MR imaging. So the digital file is printed using a 3D printer, which makes the manufacturing much faster, much easier compared to conventional manufacturing. The area where 3D printing can have huge impact in healthcare is in manufacturing. Currently, which is being practiced is in manufacturing of devices and prostheses. Various dental appliances, orthopedic implants are being manufactured with the help of 3D printing. There are some areas where a prototype of an organ can be created with 3D printing, which can help in planning surgical procedures or an interventional procedure. There are some examples where a pediatric complex congenital heart disease was able to be reproduced with the help of 3D printing, so that the doctors could plan the surgery and then proceed with the surgery in the real patient. Medical education can take huge in training of doctors, and residents can take huge leap with the help of application of 3D printing, especially in storing the specimens. Like if you have a rare specimen which needs to be stored, that can be 3D printed and sent to various institutions. Patient education might look much better with the help of 3D printing. Forensic medicine has an application. But the major interesting area where 3D printing will have its role is in forensic medicine, is in bioprinting, where human tissues can be printed with the help of 3D printing technology. Already there are some examples where skin grafts can prepared or printed with the help of 3D printing technology. Artificial heart walls are created with the help of 3D technology, and reconstruction of earlobe in a patient who had congenital absence of earlobe was also done with the help of 3D printing. But the most important and significant area which everyone is looking for is in the development of 3D printing in developing a human organ for transplant. Probably that would remain as an ultimate goal for 3D printing in medicine. When it happens, how it happens, if at all it happens, would be interesting. It's a big question. The road is quite long, but the road is very interesting. One example how 3D printing helped in medicine in the recent year was in the production of large amount of PPE during our COVID pandemic, and even ventilators. We were able to produce, the world was able to produce PPE and ventilators much faster with the help of 3D technology. Another interesting area of medicine where technology can transform medicine is in the development of, is in application of virtual reality and augmented reality in medical practice. Most of you, especially the younger generation, would know what is virtual reality and augmented reality. In virtual reality, you create a virtual environment with the help of a device called, which may be a headgear or a goggle, where any scenario can be virtually created. You may create a virtual environment of an operation theater, or you can create a virtual environment, a football field or a cricket field, and you will live in that virtual environment with the help of this gadget, and you can interact in that virtual environment. And extended use or a type of virtual reality is augmented reality, where your surroundings are real, but the object is virtual. I may be a little confusing like Nityananda. So we, in augmented reality, virtual is added on to the real world. This is an example just to show that a new just yesterday Apple Watch, which was released just 2 days back, was put in my clinic table with the help of augmented reality application available on Apple website. So it's, you live in a real environment, but the virtual, it will be augmented with the help of a virtual object. So how, and if you combine this augmented reality and virtual reality, it becomes extended reality or mixed reality. How it helps in healthcare, it's very interesting. This is expected to be a 5 billion market by the year 2025. It can be helped, virtual reality can be helped to make simulation of various procedures, interventional procedures or surgical procedures that can be used in medical education, that can be used in training residents, which may be happening in some of the institutions already. VR and AR can also be helped in treatment of patients with visual impairment, patients with depression or mental illness, children with autism, and also in cancer care. AR helps to train people, surgeons in neurosurgery or vascular surgery, where you create a virtual environment for training. In mixed and which helps the doctor and patients to discuss. You can explain the patients with the help of VR technology or AR technology, what exactly is the treatment plan, how exactly the surgery would be done, etc. So just like you want to buy furnitures, you use VR technology, you see our AR technology, you can keep the furniture virtually in your house and see how it looks like. Similarly, even healthcare sector, we can educate the patient that how the surgery would be done and how the procedure would be done, what will happen to this. So a virtual or augmented real environment with virtual objects can be created for a practice in future. And the next major area of advancement would be in robotics, which is already happening. Already it's about 10, 20-year-old technology. Da Vinci surgical robot assistant was used in more than lakhs of surgeries so far worldwide. This market is expected to be about $20 billion in next few years. With the help of AI technology and with the help of augmented reality and with the help of telemedicine, robotics can be used for performing surgery at remote places also. That would be probably the future aims of this robotic procedures. However, robotics may be used in automation of hospitals, cleaning of the hospitals, transporting supplies to the patients, or packaging devices, etc. A minor form of robotic called microbot, which is a miniature robot, are being devised to use in targeted chemotherapy or targeted radiotherapy. So all these things looks interesting. You prepare a very miniature robot, load it with chemotherapeutic agent or radiotherapeutic agent, and drive it to the place where it is intended to act. So probably these are very fascinating technology which will evolve in future years. And the next disruptive technology would be 5G. Many may be wondering why 5G what does 5G has to got with healthcare? To put you in a perspective, in 1998, 99, the internet speed at my home was 33.6 kilobytes per second. And today it is 300 MB per second, which is 10,000 times faster than what it was 20 years ago. Nothing in last 20 years has increased so much. The only thing which has increased at 10,000 times in last 20 years is the speed of internet. How? I'll give an example. 2004, we conducted KAPICON. We did a live relay of an interventional procedure from cath lab of a hospital to the auditorium. With the available best internet at that time, with the best plan, costliest plan, we were not sure of a seamless transmission of the procedure from the cath lab to the auditorium. So we put a cable of 2 to 3 kilometers from the venue to the cath lab, optic fiber cable about 3 kilometers, so that we can do a live transmission. Look at how the things have changed today. We are in 2021 KAPICON. I am in Shimoga. The conference is being held at Manipal. The delegates are all over Karnataka. This is how technology has evolved and made changes to our lives. When faster internet comes with 5G, with 1.4 GB, teleradiology, telemedicine, teleconsultation, all those things are going to take a huge leap, especially when you combine this with applications like VR technology, AR technology. You can have the virtual clinics or remote monitoring, and consultation of specialists at remote places may be a reality in the future when 5G takes off in a big way. And the next important area, which may not be directly related to digital technology, is genomics. But genomics has been augmented with the help of AI technology, where the application of AI and genomics can make precision medicine possible to devise a suitable treatment for a particular patient, considering his genomics, considering his condition of the patient, etc., etc. This is making huge impact in oncology and in infectious diseases and in hereditary diseases, where AI and genomics can be combined to make huge impact. One major AI genomics technology which will be a defining moment in the future is with the CRISPR technology, CRISPR-Cas9 and gene editing technologies, where with the help of a small messenger RNA, you use a targeted breaks in the DNA, double-stranded DNA break, create a double-stranded DNA break at the point where there is gene defect, and allow the homologous DNA repairing to happen so that the defective gene is repaired. So this technology has already been tried in various single gene disorders like cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, chronic myeloid leukemia, and even in HIV therapy. CRISPR-Cas9 technology is also being used to control vectors by controlling the population of mosquitoes, and that can have a huge impact in controlling vector-borne diseases. Most of the gene technology and genomics research is going on in somatic cell lines, because research and treatment on the germ cell line involves a lot of ethical issues and a lot of regulatory medicines. But there are many roadblocks but the future looks very interesting, and most of the treatable diseases which are considered as untreatable today may have a viable treatment option in future with the help of gene editing technologies and the application of genomics and AI. Especially the hereditary disorders, rare disorders, oncology, the treatment is bound to take huge impact.